Okay, today guys I just want to show you really quickly how we're going to go ahead and set up this drum sander. So this is called a wide belt drum sander or a thickness sander, some people call it. Basically think of it like the thickness planer that we've all been using here. We have a couple of thickness planers, only it uses sandpaper, it uses a big wide sanding belt instead of knives. Okay, so the advantage of this machine is that we can do things really thin, like we can bring thicknesses of material down super thin. This is a guitar top I'm working on, so we can come down really thin on stuff like this. Of course you can't do that with a planer, and you can also do stuff that's got some really gnarly grain in it that would otherwise really chip and tear out with a planer. So this is a really very useful machine to use if we're doing some kind of specialty thicknessing, right? The other area that you guys are going to use this on is for your drawer dividers for your toolbox, where we have a frame glued up where we have grain going in opposite directions. You can never put this through a thickness planer because you would just blow the whole chunk out the one end, right? You can't put cross grain through a planer, where we can do that really easily with this machine. Door panels, drawer dividers, things like this machine is perfect for. So it works very easily. Think of the way it works very similar to the planer. First of all, we're going to go ahead and set the infeed table height here. Same way we do that with the planer. So we're going to measure the thickest part of what we're going to of our material. So in this case, thickest part of Catherine's drawer divider is just shy of a ½ inch. Okay, so we really need to be careful with this thing that we don't load the machine up too much. It really does not take off much at all at a time. So if we just look down here, this is our wheel where we adjust the table height, and we have a gauge on the side right here that shows where we're at. So we're just going to bring this down. This wheel is a little different from the planer too. It goes clockwise to go lower, counterclockwise to go up. So we're going to bring this down to the same thickness that our drawer divider is. Looking pretty good there. And same rules apply to with the planer. You guys know that we go about ½ a turn up every time for every pass. About the same thing here too. Okay, this thing is a very low gear. Takes a very, very small amount off at a time. So about ½ a turn counterclockwise every time to bring it up. And then of course, to make sure that all of our pieces stay the same, because you guys all have 3 drawer dividers, we're going to run all 3 through one after another at the same setting, of course, so that we kind of run them in batches, right? It helps things work out exactly the same as much as it can. Okay, so let's get this thing fired up. Safety stuff, of course, we need safety glasses. It's not super loud. I'm not totally requiring that you guys have earmuffs on, but if you want to, you certainly can. This machine requires compressed air to hold tension on the sanding belt. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do is there's a little, there's a valve on here. Turn it sideways first. That turns the airflow off. Make sure that the compressor is turned on. It won't work without the compressor. So the compressor is pumped up to 100 psi, and our compressed air gets hooked up to the air fitting at the top. And this is labeled as step 1. Okay, so I've now labeled this for you guys so the steps are there. When you turn this on, turn it on very slowly so you can feel the air kind of move through. And you guys heard that little bump as the sanding belt was tensioned in there. Don't just flip it open because you can damage parts inside. Okay, so nice and slow on the air. That's labeled as step 1. Step 2 is our main power. So that's it. We've turned our main power on. That's step 2. Step 3, this is kind of this whole keypad here. We need to make sure, first of all, that the red button is pulled out. This is our emergency stop in case something goes wrong. If it stays locked in, of course, it doesn't turn on. So we need to make sure that the safety stop has been pulled out. Turn this to number 1. This is our feed speed for the belt, and then we can turn on the green button, which gets our table going. Okay, then we can go to step 4 and turn on the actual sanding belt in here. All right, so here we go. Okay, and then just catch it as it comes out the backside, and of course you'll be feeding all of your components through as a batch. When you turn this thing off as well, if something goes bad, you can hit the emergency stop. Otherwise, it's better for the machine and it saves life on the brake and stuff if we just turn it off in the reverse order that we fired it back up. So first of all, turn the sanding belt off, and then just turn this the feed belt back to 0. Okay, so just operate these two here. Okay. And that's it. Just keep going half a turn at a time until they're all down. In this case, until all of your drawer dividers are at 3/8 of an inch. Same thing for your back panels and your front panels. Okay, 3/8 of an inch. That's it.